never made sense to me why we are so terrified of young children within horror movies. I mean, there's been dozens of examples over history. Some most notable, Gage Creed from Pet Sematary. I understand why that one is disheartening, as probably one of the most tragic scenes, not only in horror cinema, but in any Stephen King film / adaptation. The orphan from that movie, Annie, from Orphan, I remember that ending scene gut-wrenched me, which I guess, no spoilers, but maybe she's not fully a kid after all. And even that little kid from that one movie, that one show, that one freaky thing, Chucky? Oh wait, that's a doll. But yeah, along the lines of like elderly people in horror movies, kids are just as scary because they're more innocent. They should be, well nurtured, loved, and like protected. But for some reason, when there's something sinister, whether they're demonically possessed, sociopathic, or just evil, kids can be more scary than, serial killers or monsters. In this specific episode, we're going to be talking about not only the most horrific little bugger from 1993's The Good Son, we're going to be talking specifically about the ending of this movie that I feel like is just an absolute masterpiece. So this goes without saying, there's going to be spoilers. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, come hang out with me. What up, y'all? Welcome back to Phantom of the Indie Review. That is right, it is Dread Festival. This is the third year in a row where your homeboy, Ratty, is doing an annual horror series for the month of October. I've been telling y'all for months, we turning up in October. In 2023, we did 90s Ween, talked about 90s bangers. 2024, we did Barker Ween. I got playlists for both of these. I got a playlist for all these videos, but Barker Ween was Clive Barker exclusive. And this year, Dread Festival is just going to be along the lines of, like AMC's Fear Fest, Bravo's horror themed, like all those. Growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, all these channels had their designated specific Halloween themed events, and they were just like the talk of the town. They were the things we looked forward to the most in fall. A lot of YouTubers do it. We have Chris Duckman doing his Halloween special, Cinemassacre, AVGN, bangers. So I feel like I'm becoming established enough as a horror content creator to make my own, but this one's gonna be wicked. I try to do things outside of the box, talk about things that not everyone else is really talking about to an extent. We are on the journey of 5,000 subscribers by this Halloween, and if we don't get there, that's going to be quite gut-wrenchingly devastating. I'm going to be heartbroken. I might retire from YouTube. I'm kidding. It's a joke. But if you love horror, nostalgia, fucking around and finding out, come hang out with me, give me a subby. The reason I wanted to talk about this specific scene at hand, not only does it climax this fantastic film, but it's because every single frame and second of it honestly pieced together in a way where it might be like the greatest ending in a horror movie of all time. Call me crazy, but essentially this movie follows a young boy named Mark who has a tragic accident ensue, so he has to go to live with his extended family. He comes in and he is introduced to Henry, played by our homeboy Macaulay Culkin, that sinister little bastard. Home Alone, all the movies, great, phenomenal childhood actor. But Mark is played by Elijah Wood. And let's just say some sinister stuff unfolds from Henry's end, where he ends up being more sinister and diabolical than anyone could ever comprehend. And does this movie have an unsettling, eerie tone? I had a commenter say the other day, which I heavily agree. For some reason, movies in the 90s, specifically horror or thriller, were filmed in this provocative, dreary, almost like surreal way that really made it feel realistic and haunting. Maybe there was like that nostalgia filter over us that we remember these movies for being extra scary from being kids, or it's just the gritty way they were filmed. They have haunting aesthetics to it, and this movie is right up there with that standard. And throughout this movie, Mark, the young boy, the good son, is trying to prove to everyone that his new brother is a little fucking maniac, a little sociopath, a psycho, and this all slowly unfolds when they have this little doll that they throw off the overpass and cause a tragedy. Henry keeps doing this malicious stuff, attacking family members, just being a straight up nuisance and fucking evil little bastard. The thing I want to talk about in specific is the ending of this movie. Let's break down why it's so fucking fantastic. The mother comes running up a cliffside looking for her son Henry. And again, you have to understand that this mother is Henry's biological mother. Yes, Mark came into play. He is well behaved, he's sweet, he's kind, but there's nothing like that motherly love. And she sees the tragedy and torment that's going on with Henry. He's mentally ill, he's sick, there's something wrong with him. Is it supernatural? I don't know, but she's trying her best to give him the benefit of the doubt and love him, because like you have to imagine being a parent, like you would do anything to protect your kid. So she comes up to this haunting overlook of the ocean on this cliffside, and coming out is Henry, and he attacks her, and he goes, and pretty much like Macaulay Culkin sells this role so well. Like he's just so like emotionless, cold-hearted, jaded, like sociopathic as hell, and he attacks his mom and pretty much fucking sends her over the cliff, where she tumbles down and gets hooked on a branch. And you're like, there's no way she's coming back from this. Like, holy shit. Like, the way she falls off, like, I'm a Virgo. I get freaked out by heights as it is. But yeah, she's dangling, and all of a sudden, Mark comes running out and tackles Henry to the ground, and they get into a little scuffle. The music specifically paints a picture, sets a tone. It is very thrilling, suspenseful, and eerie. And the cutscenes between her hanging off that branch and Mark and Henry kind of scuffling up on the upper ground is just executed so well. And she's slowly crawling, digging her way back up to save her life. And the way her nails are bloody, the way you see like the close-up shots of her struggling, shows that she put up a fight, like the superhuman mom strength. She didn't want to die, she didn't want to fall into the jagged cliff, so she fucking brutally climbed her way back up to the top. And as these two kids are fighting, they both end up falling over the side of the cliff and hanging on, and it's that classic scenario where each one of them is holding her arms. And this is where I really feel like this scene packs a punch for me, is she has to make a decision as they're both slowly slipping. She has to choose who to save. Does she save her biological son that she fucking gave birth to, raised his whole life as a part of her, or this new kid that, yes, it is her family member, and yes, he's a very loving and needs that nurture and needs that compassion, but he's not fully hers. And this is where I feel like this scene specifically sets apart for me, is when she's making this decision, looking down, the fear that you see in Elijah Wood's character's eyes, and the begging, like how much he loves this woman, and how much he wants her to be his mother, and how much like he's genuinely scared. Like you can see the fear in his eyes, like that innocent, like when a kid looks at you and you know they're in danger and they're looking at you like you are everything to them. And then she looks over and she sees Macaulay Culkin's character, and though he sounds desperate and he's pleading, he goes, "Mom, I love you, please help me, please, I'll do anything, I love you more than anything." She looks over and he just has a fucking stone cold face. So as it's that dichotomy, as Mark is begging, like looking treacherously mortified and haunted, and like he has bugged out eyes, he's crying, he's hysterical, and he's whimpering, "Help, help, I love you." And you hear the radiance of Macaulay Culkin's voice being like, "I love you, Mom, please save me, please do this." And then you look over and you see that look of his face of just like nothing there. You see it click in her brain that she knows that he's far gone and she has to make the decision. So what does she do? She drops Henry and saves the good son, Mark, which not only is that fucking morally profound to even comprehend, but it's heartbreaking, it's devastating. She just let go of her son that she raised and loved to save this other kid for the benefit of saving the right kid. And in that situation, I would like you to comment down below what you would have done in that situation. What do you think is the right move? But to keep adding on to this, I feel like the way Henry dies is so brutal. You just get that cutscene of him falling and you hear him screaming as the echo fades, and it's so realistic. And she pulls up Mark, holds him, kisses him, and like everything seems fine, but then it pans down and it shows down in the waters the crushed, decapitated body of the young kid getting swept away into the ocean, and that is so fucking disturbing. The reason I wanted to talk about this scene is because, yes, a lot of 80s and 90s movies, they are held highly regarded as classics. Some are considered cliche, some are, swept under the rug by, the mass-produced movies that we have, but this one just lives in a time that I feel like it was so provocative, so eerie, and just such a genius ending, that dynamic of having to choose between two things. And just from the execution of the slow pace, the fight scene, how the mother had to dig her way back up with the bloody claws, how she had to make the choice, all the way down to the decision each character made. Like, each performance was phenomenal, from the mother to the two kids. It wasn't rushed, the scene didn't go by too fast, it wasn't dragged out. I feel like it was a heart-racing, genuinely intimidating scene that paid off with the great conclusion, a satisfying ending, and was just filmed. Like, I remember specifically this scene from watching it as a kid, and it always stuck with me. But yeah, this is fucking Drip Fed Dread, y'all. We doing Drip Fest. This is the first video. We turning up. What? I'm not a juggalo, I just fuck with Twisted Heavy. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Give me a thumb or hit that ding ling button right after you telling you, hey, it's me, I'm here. I'm gonna say it one time for the one time, two time for the O's. Give me a hell yeah for what? A hell yeah. For horror.
You know you did? You could have killed people. I feel sorry for you. You just don't know how to have fun. What?
Horror movie? Why? Who would have thought that one of our favorite treats growing up as a kid got turned into a fucking creepypasta? Yeah, that's right, you know Gushers, the sweet, delicious, fruity little snacks. If you grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, you know that those things bursted in your mouth and lit up your world. I'm proud to announce that they created a YouTube horror film.